So Congress has passed a bill that could ban TikTok, but what would this do specifically to protect national security? That's really been the discussion this entire time, and your data. Let's bring in here Alex Hammerstone. He's a cybersecurity expert with Trusted Set. Good morning to you. Glad to see you, sir.
Good morning. Glad to be here.
So the big issue surrounding TikTok has always been cybersecurity and people's data. Why TikTok specifically, though? Because, I mean, when you think of even other apps like Instagram, Facebook, they also have an algorithm where they look at your data and things like that as well.
So certainly from what we've seen, TikTok's data collection and kind of what they store is pretty similar to what we see in other social media or sharing sites. I think that really the issue in question here is the ownership structure. And when you look at that and kind of think through the fact that, China is generally considered to be, the United States' largest strategic adversary, the question becomes, do we want as a nation to have, that company have that much sway, I think, not just over having our data, but also the ability to really drive the narrative and really influence people with their algorithms and what they're showing and so forth. So
this is still not set in stone. However, though, the thing with this then is that ByteDance would then have to find someone else to purchase this purchase this app from them specifically. Just say this app is gone today. Would China still have this data, or what are we looking at with this?
So they certainly, in my understanding, would still have kind of the data that they've collected or the data that's, been there in the past. But especially with elections upcoming and other things that are kind of happening in the nation, what they would lose if this, app suddenly went away is the ability to kind of drive the narrative. I think one of the things that's really fascinating about TikTok is just how much people use it. If you look at kind of the statistics, how much time people are spending there, other sites, people spend a lot less time there. If you look at younger people and some of the surveys, show how much of their news they're getting from places like TikTok and not mainstream, news sources. And with the mainstream news, there's a lot of vetting and kind of checking of the information. Whereas with these social media sites, really anyone is free to create the content.
So what is China specifically using this data for in this case then?
So in this case, again, as far as how they're using the data, certainly nothing has come out that they're using it nefariously as far as the data they're collecting. But certainly when you look at, the algorithm and kind of what's shown to people, and again, I want to be careful, kind of saying it's China specifically as the government, certainly the ownership structure, China has a very large influence over, organizations that are in China and based in China. But certainly we've seen a lot of, cases and through kind of conversations and just how much young people are influenced by a lot of the information on there. And again, I think the question comes down to is, do we as a nation want to allow kind of a foreign company that is, in what's considered an adversarial nation, that much power to kind of drive the narrative here?
Yeah, I should have said Chinese company, not China, excuse me, with that. Are apps like, TikTok, for example, are they the only threat when it comes to cybersecurity? I mean, we have other American apps right here, built and branded right here in the U.S. as well.
So there's certainly, it's a pretty broad question, right? I mean, there are many, many threats to cybersecurity and to our data really every day. And again, I think the issue really is, if you look at the other social media sites, it's unbelievable, how much data is collected on each and every one of us that use these sites, or really any site. And I really think the question comes down to the ownership structure. And that's really where the concern lies. It's not in question that, other sites and other social media sites are really collecting the same amount of data. I think people would really be shocked if they knew just how much data is out there about each and every one of us.
Yeah, we would talk about how do you keep yourself safe, but I know we're running out of time. So we appreciate you, Alex, in the meantime. Thanks so much for this.
Okay,